Okay, so how did you both meet Jesus and come into the things of the Holy Spirit initially?
Mm.
Yeah, why don't you just go first?
Yeah, grew up Catholic. My parents found a deeper relationship with Jesus through a charismatic nun, and then we went all in. Eventually, started attending assemblies and Pentecostal holiness, and I met Storm at Lee University, which is a Church of God school.
And I grew up, really, the family, we were very lost for a long time. And my parents were heading for divorce. And my dad got invited to go to a Sunday morning kind of evangelistic gathering. And when I was 10 years old, and he said, he was, matter of fact, sitting on the back row. He was a cop, so you had to, things didn't move him. He was very logical, and he said something propelled him to the altar. He said something got him out of the seat and pushed him forward. And he became a Christian that day, and that changed the whole trajectory of our lives. I knew in middle school that I had a calling to be in ministry, and went right out of high school into Bible college and then seminary after that. And really we've spent our whole lives, the mission Jesus has given us has been to reach children and adults and introduce them to Jesus, and then teach them how to follow Jesus and be a Jesus follower. So with everything that means. It's not just about them and God, it's about them, God, and others. So.
Amen. So what drew you initially to get involved in Orbis, and how did you get here?
So I was listening to Eric Metaxas in the mornings as I was getting ready for work, and I really enjoyed the Miracle Mondays, and I just kept hearing these stories about like what was happening in South America, like people getting cavities, like, and they don't know what what is that cavity,
what
right?
The filling was.
The filling in their teeth, and just hearing about these things going on around the world, and I'm like, why is that happening here?
Why is it not happening?
Not happening here. Just burning to be an Acts church, because we left some like denominational ways of trying to bring change to churches, and we were just done, and we were like, we just really want the real church. What does it really mean? And so again, I was watching the Eric Metaxas show, and there was what Global Awakening is like in Harrisburg, which is a half an hour away, an hour away from where we live, and with Randy Clark. And then I saw Carol, what's her name? Carol Ward, and her miracles going on with her on the show. And then there was Ken. I was like, Storm, you got to listen to this guy. I was like, this is awesome. Yeah, and then
it wasn't too long after that I found out the Orbis School of Ministry,
and then they were offering classes.
Yeah, and the first class I took was on deliverance, which knew zero, never saw anyone delivered of anything. As a matter of fact, Rick and Pam were my TAs, and they said, okay, we're going to do a demonstration. Who's never seen anyone delivered of a demon? And I was the only one that put my hand up in the whole group, and they were like, you haven't? Well, this is going to be a treat for you tonight.
I know, a treat, which is interesting because we met at a Pentecostal school. We both went to Pentecostal churches. So
right.
It's interesting.
And so, but I knew as soon as I started diving into this, we're in a very lost area. As a matter of fact, witchcraft is huge. Matter of fact, we have the largest occult community in all of Pennsylvania in our county. And you just see these people, and you're just like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
Now I do know what to do.
Right.
And Jesus was, propelling us into this mission field, and we were just lost there. We just didn't know how to help them. She has students that are suffering under just difficult circumstances, and okay, now we can wade into all of that, and we know what to do. But when I first started with the school, it was like, this is the answer. This is what I've been looking for 30 years. Finally found the answer.
The full gospel.
The full gospel.
We want the full.
Inner
Full
healing,
gospel.
physical healing, deliverance, the whole package, you know. And it can happen. It's just, you know, I can already tell story after story that we've seen in our ministry of Jesus getting involved in people's lives, and in one session they're delivered of a lifetime of anger, and they've been going to counseling for years and couldn't get anywhere. In one session, deliverance and inner healing. It's just amazing. I would have been lost as a pastor before. Well, I was lost as a pastor trying to help these kinds of people.
Wow. So, like, I know there's so many people that are in that place right now as pastors, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Is there anything else that you would want to speak to pastors right now?
Yeah. Well, you want to go first on that?
Well, you can go.
I think what I would say is that this is the voice. Jesus is calling you to this. You know it's in. You know His voice. You know the voice of the shepherd, and He's calling you. Just don't be afraid of it. Don't think this is weird or not what we're supposed to be doing. This is what Jesus has called us to do. You know, He sent the 12 out, the 72 out to heal the sick and to cast out demons, and that's what and then to preach the kingdom. And we don't have the kingdom message without the other two. And there's a great harvest coming, and we're not going to be able to be a part of it unless we know how to. It's a deliverance harvest, and we've got to know what we're doing. So just listen to that voice of Jesus, because this is where he leads us to the brokenhearted, right? Yeah. We got to know what to do when we get to them. So, and I love getting out of bed and going to work now. I love it. Before, I didn't. Now I can't wait. I did 4 sessions last week. Every one of them was miraculous. Just tremendous. Who wouldn't want that life? And it's all God. I mean, He does all the heavy lifting. He just lets me have a little part of what He's doing, right?
That's the thing that I think is so amazing about this, is that, like, you know, when you're in ministry and you're working with people, it's just like there always felt like there was a wall. Like you could only get so far. It just takes so long. And I'll never forget someone at Global Awakening, I don't think it was Randy Clark, it was the other guy, but saying, you know, you could spend years having spiritual conversations, which is part of the discipleship method we use. And we've been training in that for 11 years at our church. But it's like just years and years and may never. And how many groups was I in? And it's like it got so far with somebody who we thought was disciplable and ready to go all in, and then just never happened. Yeah. And it's like now that we're going into this realm, which I call the reality. This is the real. The breakthroughs and Jesus is right there. It's like you just start a session, He's already talking to them or talking to us. It's like, that's what I would say to pastors. It's like you're always feeling like
there's a wall. You're hitting that wall.
Yeah,
you don't know how to get through the wall.
Yeah. And
Jesus,
but He shows up for this.
He does.
He shows up. He is there, and He's guiding
and He tears those walls
and there's
down.
just so much love. Like, because I grew up in the Pentecostal church and saw so many different ways of going up for healing or going up to be, you know, baptized, and it's just the difference I saw, especially with Barnabas, I went up for healing for my stomach because I have gut issues, and he spent 2 hours with me. He didn't even realize it was 2 hours. So gentle, so kind, so quiet, so encouraging, and it was a new Pentecostal, experience that I had never had, and just the love and the humility that I even see, like with Randy Clark and with it, because we had kind of walked away. We had walked away from Pentecostalism or charisma, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, we grew up in it. We were all in when we were in college. We were we were the Jesus freaks, carrying our Bibles at the Christian college.
But we had drifted away from that because we didn't see in that reality.
Right.
It was about
and the love.
And the love, right? I think the other thing I would say is this has brought unity to our church.
Yeah.
I've never been a part of a church with so much unity. We all know what we're about.
Yep.
We're about seeing people get set free and discipled. And there's no bickering, there's no gossip, everybody's all in. And it's amazing to have a church all on the same page with this.
And the maturity, it's not just, it's like when Paul talks about being a mature Christian, we're not just at that level anymore of all the other churches we were at. Like, we're going into the depths and deep stuff with each other. And
people get healed sometimes just during worship. I mean, that happened Sunday. I mean, our worship leader had chronic neck and back pain, and she got healed during worship one Sunday. We didn't even pray for her. It just came upon her. I mean, who wouldn't want that for their church? I mean, look how good Jesus is.
I know.
Yeah. Wow.
I'll tell you one other thing I can't recommend highly enough, and this is where we start people now, is with Leif Hetland's book called The Ring.
Yep.
Understanding our identity in God, because it all flows from understanding who I am and how the Father and Son and Spirit look at me.
Right.
Because if not, then I still am in this, I'm doing this for God. I'm not doing it for God.
And I would just say the reason we even know about that book is because I was in a session to get inner healing and deliverance.
Right.
And
It came through Orbis.
It came through.
I should have added that. Right.
It came through a prophetic word from a woman.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So we have a couple more minutes. Like, what can you tell me about the process of bringing your church alongside of you in this? Because it sounds like you've been a pastor for a long time. So like, if the Lord opened your eyes and lifted the veil and you were starting to get dip your toes into all of this, how did you introduce it to your congregation?
I wouldn't recommend what I did.
Okay. What do you? Yeah.
Because of my first, I will tell you what I did. I was so excited about this deliverance class. I did a 6-week sermon series on deliverance, and they were like, "What?" I heard some people, some of the older ladies came to me and said, "Can we talk about something else other than demons for a while?" And I thought, okay, I probably preached about this enough for a little while. So I would probably, if I was going to do it again, I'd start with inner healing. Start with the broken hearts and how Jesus heals the broken heart and binds up their wounds. Then I'd go to, and if some of you are praying for that and you're not getting it, here's maybe why. And then tons of testimony.
That's what can people say?
Yeah, and half of our church or more now has been through sessions and has testimonies, and we just parade them up there, and they get to, like the woman that got healed last Sunday during service, she's going to give a testimony to start the service this week. And it just creates this positive momentum for it. And then I think the other part is to have one-on-one dialogues. Just, it's very like open door. I've shared this. If you're not sure about it, if you don't know, reach out to me. Let's talk. And, very calmly through scripture. Ken is so scriptural. Everything he does is based just saying, here's where it is in the Bible. Here's why we're doing this. And I think we brought everybody along. Now, there's still some people that haven't gone for sessions, but that's okay, but we haven't lost any people. No one's left the church over this. So,
and I'd say the fourth thing too was that you started training those who were interested, those who were hungry, those who wanted to be a part of this, and it wasn't forced. It was come if you want.
We invited anybody that wanted to learn more and be trained. We meet every other Wednesday night and for over a year now. So we've unleashed ministry teams. So every Sunday now, there's ministry teams available for prayer for those who want them. Oh, and I think there's a fifth thing: loads of prayer.
Oh my gosh,
we're praying more than we've ever prayed as a church, and helping everybody have a role in that. You may be not so sure, but they're still willing to pray.
Because this all happened, I think, because Storm felt called by God for us to start praying for the disciples' prayer. So, our Father, thy kingdom come, thy will be done. And so that's why we think that we heard it from Eric Metaxas, and he started opening these doors when we were praying for his kingdom to come. And
for years we were praying for that the kingdom would come in
and
its
also
fullness.
the Second Chronicles.
Yeah, right. Second Chronicles 7:14. Yeah, God gave us to pray as a church to pray for both of those. Yeah.
My people will humble themselves and turn from wicked ways, and
this is God's story.
And I will.
It's all about what God's done.
And seek His presence. That's where I was going with.
So grateful.
But the thing is things that we don't want this to become the golden calf, the miracles and things.
No.
We really want to just, what does Jesus want? Are we seeking him? Are we knowing him?
Yeah.
That's the key. Like, and whatever he ends up doing, we'll do whatever. But and that's what's resonating with everybody the most, is I just want to know him more and feel him and touch him and know he's real. I think that's,
we
and
spent
this is the manifestation of that.
We spent a lot of time seeking his presence, just wanting to be with God, the Father, Son, and Spirit, you know. And I've never, this is new for me as a pastor, to give so much time in the last few years just to seeking God, seeking his face, you know.